That's a face I have not seen in a long time.
Never forget.
My first online friend.
Never forget where, where we all started. Well, actually, I think back in the PHP days, there used to be like other like blogs, like I know there's like I don't want to say Axe Jeeves, that was more like a search engine, but I mean, MySpace does have predecessors, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
I'm trying to think.
remember.
I feel like there was, but I guess MySpace may have been at.
I think Tom was my first friend. I don't remember. I don't remember anybody else.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Before MySpace, that was Friendster before MySpace.
Yeah, Friendster, okay. You're aging me out right now, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I got a little gray. You can tell.
Nice
No, I
haircut.
was on Friendster.
And never forget AOL. Um, well, no, that doesn't really count.
Somebody remind me, you all know that I suck at explaining what things are. I never know the name. The thing that we downloaded that allowed us to put our like different windows in different parts of the computer. I had to update mine and it's not there anymore.
Like a window snapping tool.
Yeah, like I don't know
I know
what.
what you're talking about. I never installed it. The thing that like puts some half screen,
Yep.
half the screen, snaps them into place.
Yes.
Called like rectangle or something. I don't know.
Okay.
What I
Is
would think one of your co-students would know.
Rectangle is a snapping tool. I use Better Touch tool, but there's like a million of them. I think rectangle looks like one. I think that's crazy that they don't have that built into Mac.
thank you.
All right. Just as a heads up, I am actually still working. I'm on call for the next 16-ish hours. So there is a small chance that that there might be an incident, and if there is, I'm gonna have to immediately leave. Um, but if that happens, I'll be able to give a few minutes notice. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we can get started. Before I Before we dig into Netlify, does anybody have any questions about what we covered yesterday? think for the most part, everybody has a working backend. I'm just going to go through the list real quick and
I just have a question. I had to leave halfway through. Are we, if we was gonna deploy our front end, will we do it the same way if we were using Fly?
you could. We're actually going to use Netlify to deploy the front end. So we'll use Fly for the back end and Netlify for the front end. You could technically
Okay.
use Fly for both, though.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, just looking through all of the back ends on the sheet, and it looks like pretty much everybody's back end is online. Wash is online. Quota, yours is online. Very nice. Is Shay with us today? Has Shay been in class? I feel like I saw Shay on Tuesday. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, he wasn't here yesterday.
A couple of these just need to be woken up. No redirect. We haven't changed any code yet for the front end, no. And we really shouldn't need to, except for one piece of code that I can think of. There should only be one pretty small change needed. Although, I'm not sure how the Clark stuff will pan out. We'll find out today. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So today we're talking about Netlify, and just as Sequoia pointed out, we could get away with using Fly for both the front end and the back end. The reason why we're not going to use Fly is front end code is different, right? It doesn't need to be stored on a special server somewhere. It doesn't need to have access to a database. Front end code is different. Front end code is intended to be distributed and then run in people's browsers. And so we could do that with Fly, but we kind of be hamstringing ourselves because we would be reliant on one server, or however many we spin up with Fly. We would be reliant on that many servers to distribute our front end code. And the machines that we use on Fly really aren't that powerful and really aren't optimized for downloading files. So that's kind of where Netlify comes in. Netlify is optimized for what's called a CDN, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So what is Netlify? They are purely front-end files hosting similar to GitHub Pages. They just deal with front-end files, but they also have this serverless offering, which is given a piece of back-end code, spin up a machine when it's needed, run some computation, and then shut down. Serverless is kind of a different paradigm that we're not going to have time to talk a whole lot about, but Netlify offers front-end websites and also this kind of serverless component. In addition, Netlify also tries to get you sold or hooked on a bunch of different front-end integration, one-click kind of integrations. Because they control your front-end code, they can also mix things into it on your behalf. So think things like Google Analytics, Sentry, MailChimp, all of these kind of value add products, they're able to plug those in pretty quickly, as opposed to you needing to go and read docs and learn how to set these products up individually. Netlify, you could just kind of click a button and these things will be plugged in. Series D, they're a bit more established than the Series B Fly. They have been pretty successful, and the reason why is because they're really piggybacking off of a very, very large business called Akamai. I don't know how to say that. CDN. It's the world's biggest CDN, and CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. So the way these things work, the way these CDNs work is, think of a ton of servers distributed in all of the major cities around the world. Similar to with Fly, how you could pick where you wanted your server to be spun up. These CDNs, like this Akamai CDN, they've got servers everywhere. And what that means is that when you upload your front end code, it's getting distributed to all of those servers all around the world. And the benefit to you is that the closer to the end user the CDN is, the faster your website will load. So these content delivery networks that Netlify and Akamai run are massive. And so Netlify has their own CDN, but they also resell a bit on top of this much larger CDN. And as kind of an interesting statistic, the Akamai CDN is doing, when I checked, was doing around 78 terabits per second worth of traffic. If you visit the website, you can find there is a real-time counter for the actual traffic that they're serving. Terabits per second is a pretty incredible scale. Netlify also touts this instant cache invalidation. So if you're familiar with browser caching, CDNs will also do the same thing. They'll hold on to a copy of your website to make it faster for users to download. And it also saves them a bit of money because every time you push a new website, they don't have to go and re-download files to all of those servers I was talking about. But Netlify has this kind of magic instant cache invalidation that they go into on their blog. Check that out if you're interested. It's actually pretty neat, and I'm fairly impressed with it. You shouldn't need to put a credit card down at all for Netlify. I haven't needed to, and really, if you start to exceed the 100 gigabit per month allowance, then you're kind of doing well. So $55 a month would be probably be small change to you. Any questions about Netlify so far? Yeah, here's the link to the slides. And Corwin, it's actually measured in terabits. So take this number, divide it by 8, and that would give you bytes. Still a tremendous volume of traffic, though. Just an absolutely astounding amount of traffic. The company I work at, Datadog, we deal in gigabits per second, which is still a pretty tremendous amount of data that we handle, but terabits per second is just insane. All right, so let's get into it. Let's sign up for Netlify. I can't join you on this because I've already signed up, but hop into a browser, go to Netlify. I believe it's just netlify.com. Sign up using GitHub. And then when it asks you all sorts of questions, just fill it out however you feel like. I put that I'm a DevOps engineer. My company is just me, and I use my name for my team. So go to netlify.com and sign up.
Did you say we're gonna use work or personal?
Let's say work. Put in work when I did mine.
Does it matter what we put for the kind of site? Should we say
I put
blog?
web. I put
or-
web 3.0. You can put whatever you want.
Okay.
I think it doesn't matter. I think the one thing that they probably will care about is when you say how big is your company, because that will probably determine how much spam email you get. So we will actually deploy using the CLI here in a moment. So once you have signed up for Netlify, you should be sitting on a page that kind of looks similar to my screen, where you've kind of got like a team overview. After that, go ahead and hop into a terminal, and let's go ahead and install the Netlify CLI. So here's the command. Run this in a terminal. Run this in any terminal. You don't have to be in a particular folder.
Quick question before we move out. It says, so deploy it first. Do we deploy with GitHub?
Skip that. Don't deploy with GitHub. There should be a skip. Do you see a skip in the bottom? Or a way to close out of it?
Yeah, I think there was a link at the top that said skip this step for now.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So in a terminal somewhere, run npm install or npm I, either one works, netlify dash CLI. The dash G means global. So you're installing an npm package, not into a specific project, not into a specific package.json, but you're installing it globally on your computer, which means that you can use this in any project. All right. Now we need to do a couple of things in order to deploy with Netlify. Much simpler than Fly, but we still have a couple of pieces of we have a couple things to do. So first, open up a terminal in the blog front end. Now that we've installed Netlify CLI, Alize and Tara, if you want to catch up, so far all we've done is sign up for an account on netlify.com, and we've just run this npm install netlify CLI command. If you sign up on Netlify and run that command, you'll be all caught up.
Okay, thanks. Did you put the command in the chat? Or
I
can you
did.
put it in
Here
the
it is
chat?
one more
Sorry, I
time.
can't see it.
If we rented an a terminal other than the front end, is that fine? Or should we?
Totally fine.
Okay,
The -G means install it globally, so you're not installing it to just one location. Totally fine. Okay. So open up a terminal. This time, now we need to actually be in the blog front end, not the back end, the front end. So we can get a terminal in the blog front end by navigating there directly, or you can do it through VS Code. So open up GitHub Desktop, switch to the blog front end, and either click that button that shows up, or using the menu bar, hit open in VS Studio, and then open up that integrated terminal. Just somehow get a terminal in the blog front end. Once you're in the blog front end, we need to npm install. That will make sure that we have all of the node modules we need in order to build the blog front end. This might be quick if you already had node modules. This might be slow if you didn't have the node modules folder there. Does anybody know how to produce the front end files? Does anybody remember from GitHub Pages days how we did this? If we've got to create React app, does anybody know how we produce the build files? npm start is a good guess. That kicks out the dev server, right? And then it launches a localhost window and you can start developing on it. npx is a good guess as well. I don't mean to install React. What's actually happening is when you do npm run start, it's starting up a little dev server. And you never are actually you're never actually transpiling, or sorry, you're never actually compiling your code into assets that can be uploaded. You're just developing on a dev server. Palash, yep, it's npm run build. And let me show you what npm run build does. Notice how, if I open this up with VS Code, notice how I've got node modules, public, and src. Those are my folders there, right? But if I do npm run build, watch how it produces a fourth folder here called build. And this is the ready to go, ready to upload bundle of files. Notice how it's a munging of both the public folder. See how it has the index.html, the logos, all that stuff. It's a munge of the public plus src. The src ends up getting compiled into the static folder. So the JS gets all compiled and nicely obfuscated into all this junk right here. So this build folder gets created every time you run npm run build. And the contents of this build folder are what you want to upload to Netlify. So to upload to Netlify, we first have to do a couple of things. The first one is we need to run Netlify deploy. And the first time that you do this, it's going to, the first time that you do this, I believe it's going to kick you up to the Netlify site. Is that what it's doing for y'all when you run Netlify deploy? Okay, so the first time, I think I'm not seeing it because I've already authenticated here. Yeah, so go to run npm run build inside of the blog front end, run that one time, and then do the Netlify deploy. And you can run that command as many times as you want.
When I tried to run that, It gave me command not found.
Are you in the blog front end?
Yes. Oh, wait. I am. Yes.
Do you want to share your screen real quick and we can find out?
Am I in the they get ignore? I think.
So you're in the blog front end, okay? And then do an npm install. So down below, it says React scripts command not found. Do an npm install so you get all of your node modules.
So then I'm gonna do the npm run build now.
Yes, after it's finished, followed by the yep, go ahead, npm rebuild, followed by the netlify deploy command.
Whoops.
Which yep, click on that, it'll authorize, allow it to authorize exactly. And then you're all done here, so go back to the terminal. Cool, and now you're exactly at the step that I am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep. Sarah?
I created the account and I did the install, but I did the run build before I did the npm install. So
Mhm.
should I
Did
do
you
the
get did you get the same issue? Did it say like React scripts not found, that sort of thing?
No, it says no, I did the run build and then it just says now the project was built assuming that it's hosted at where the location is, and then it says you may want to serve it with a static server, and it says the npm install or the
Oh,
serve
yep,
dash
yep,
s build. So do
yep.
do the npm install and then do a run build again?
You're all good. I think you didn't need to do the npm install. It sounds like you already had the node modules there. You could run both of those commands at any time and it won't hurt. But if you do, you're in VS Code, right?
No, I'm in the terminal. Separate
Do an
from
ls. Do you see a folder called build?
yes. Yep. I
Perfect.
have a
That
readme node modules package.json src build
perfect. Yeah,
the package lock in public.
exactly. So that every time you run npm run build, it will produce that folder called build. And if
Okay.
you've got a folder called build, you definitely ran npm run build successfully. So nice job.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
You're all good. Go ahead and run netlify deploy and click through that link to authenticate, and you should be where I'm at.
So we do pick authorize for that.
Yes. Do follow the link and hit the authorize. Yeah. Blush?
I'm having a similar trouble. I'm getting like command not found, but I ran npm run build, and I have a build folder. I did npm install before that.
Can you share? That's strange.
So here is what I did. Was there supposed to be not a space in there?
Netlify dash. Oh yeah, there wasn't supposed to be a space. Good catch. What did it install? Maybe there's a netlify package. That's strange. Okay.
Gotcha. So I'll just do this and I'll
Yeah, it
retry.
should take all of 2 seconds. Feel free to hold up and then show me that the netlify deploy.
Okay.
I think it should be fairly quick. Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Oh, works. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Go back share my screen unless anybody else has questions. Okay. So once you run Netlify deploy, it'll ask you to link or create a new site. Go with create and configure a new site. It'll ask you your team. Just pick the one that you have. For the site name, I'm going to call mine Nathan blog front end, keeping with the naming pattern that I did for the back end. You call yours whatever you want. For the publish directory on the next step, it's build. It's asking you what folder to use. We know that the folder that contains our ready to go assets is build. We just saw that. So when it asks you the publish directory, say build. And then it should be ready to go.
Do we push view deploy site?
Sorry, say that again.
Do we push it says deploy success, view deploy site?
Deploy success, view deploy site.
It popped up in the browser.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, go for it. I didn't have anything pop up on mine. I have a draft URL that pops up in the terminal. Did anybody else have something that popped up in the browser? That's kind of cool. Danny,
I'm gonna share my screen.
go for it. Tara, check Safari. If you don't see it in Safari, just grab the link that you see in the terminal and paste it into a browser and open it that way. Danny, for the publish directory, type in build. Okay, enter.
When it
Finished
says,
uploading 0 assets. Do an ls here. Did you have a build folder? Did you run npm run build? ls and hit enter. So there is a build. Click on that website draft URL. See that link up above? Yeah,
this one right
grab
here.
that. Yeah, the draft URL. Grab that and throw that into a browser.
Well, I have on my other screen, it says deploy successful. And it says view site deploy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not getting that to pop open on mine. I don't know why you all. So in another
Should I-
browser, that link, does
Okay,
that take you anywhere?
Let's put it in right now. And it just shows me Max's blog.
Perfect. That's the front end code, right?
Okay.
Blog front end code. All right. Shannon, I think you're all set, Danny, for now.
Okay, thank you.
While I'm looking at Shannon's Taylor, try doing the npm run build and another Netlify publish if you haven't already.
Can I just share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, I think I
And
made,
that goes for everyone. Feel free to immediately share your screen. It's the easiest way for me to see what's going on.
yeah, I think I
Okay.
made the wrong selection or something down here because it does not give me the messages that y'all are getting.
Okay, I think you accidentally selected the first one. Okay, so hit Control C. Just Control C, Control C, Control C. There you go. Run and Netlify deploy again.
Oh, shit.
Net is
Okay, I think I spelled it right this time.
Yep.
Okay.
Go down and hit the create and configure a new site because we are making a new one. Just me, thank you, cool.
Yep.
And then for the site name, call this like Shannon dash blog dash front end. Cool. Build is the name of the publish directory. So type in build and hit enter. And then that draft URL that you see right there, click that link. It's the third link from the bottom. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I think you can command click on it too, and it should like pop open.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, it's front end code.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Taylor, did you figure it out? All good, okay. Everybody else, Danny, or sorry, Brandy?
Sorry. Can
All right, we will come back when. Nice. All right, we'll come back when she reconnects. Okay, so every time that you run netlify deploy, you'll get that link to a draft that you can preview. The cool part of that being that if you already have your website up, you can test the changes on that preview link, and then when you're ready to go, you can do a deploy to prod. So there's two commands here. There's the netlify deploy command, so that we just used, and then there's the deploy dash dash prod version. Try out the deploy dash dash prod. It's going to ask you what folder to use every single time until you well, I'll show you here in a minute how to get around that. But every time it asks you for that publish directory, always give it build. That will satisfy it. If I go back and share my screen. So if you run netlify deploy prod, it will publish it to the main URL. So you'll get this nice .netlify.app. And if you have deployed with dash dash prod, this is what it should look like. Oh, this is the clerk thing. Neat. Yeah, it's going to keep asking you to type build, and I'll show you how to get around that. For now, yeah, just keep typing build when it asks you the publish folder. All right. Plosh, go ahead.
This is unrelated, but should our clerk keys that PK that starts with PK should publishable key that should not be on GitHub?
It shouldn't be on Git. The private key shouldn't be on GitHub. The public key can be on GitHub because that's known.
Like publishable key?
Publishable key. I'm not sure I know what that means.
Gotcha. All right, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah. With most front end code, you're going to have a public key that you will want to publish with your website, but there also should be a private key that only the backend has access to. That private key shouldn't go on GitHub. The public key though totally can. All
Thank you.
right. So that's pretty much it for the front end deploy. Now we are kind of left with a couple of little things that we need to fix here. So the first one, of course, being if we open up our terminal and look at our, well, actually, let me pause right here. So take your URL for your front end and come bring it over to the spreadsheet, and let's fill out the links to. Fill out the links to the spreadsheet. Let me find that spreadsheet again. Yep, some of y'all are already on here. I appreciate you being one step ahead of me. So I pasted the link in Zoom. Go ahead and throw in here under the front end link, throw in your link to your Netlify front end. Man, y'all are really on top of it today. Really appreciate that. Also, Netlify is pretty easy. No Postgres, detach, attach, create, etc., etc. Significantly easier. Nice.
Wait, why does mine look different from everybody's?
So Quota, we're using the prod deploy. So I think you're using the draft. That's what you get if you just run netlify deploy. But if you do a netlify deploy -- prod, it will create one of those really nice links.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I missed this part. Is it for the published directory or do I put?
Build every time. Put build.
Even when we do our capstones, will we still be like just putting build in for everything?
Yep, absolutely. Excellent. Nice job, Squid. That looks great. Okay. Did Brandy's computer just like completely die? Does anybody know? Is it salvageable? All right, well, we'll move on, and whenever Brandy gets back online, we can get her caught up. Okay. So my question for you is, if you take a look at your back end, I'm going to pick on Shannon for a minute. If you look at this front end, is it working? Does anybody know? Does it look like the front end is working? Front end that you just deployed?
It looks like it's supposed to be working. I haven't actually clicked through it though yet.
So one of the things that I know that the front end does when it first loads is I believe it uses a use effect at the very beginning to load all the posts. Does that sound right to anybody? Like the front page will hydrate with a list of posts. So what's going on here? Well, let's grab our handy dandy developer tools and let's check out what's going on with the network requests. So we can see that we're making a bunch of 200 GET requests. Everything looks good all up until this request for posts here. Does anybody know what's going on? Backend not connected? Yeah, something's going on with the backend here. Can anybody spot what it is? It's a GET, correct? It's an HTTP GET method. It's on localhost. Yeah, fetching from localhost, exactly. So this would work if we were running our server locally. Will our customers be running our server locally? No, they're not going to have localhost 3011. They're not going to have something running on their phones. They're not going to have a Node.js server on their phone to respond to these requests. So instead of fetching from localhost 3011, we need it to fetch from our backend. So we can fix this in a couple of ways, but instead of updating our code from localhost to something else, I'm going to show you how to set up the domain to point to the back end. So that's kind of the one thing that we need to fix here. The one thing that we need to fix next in order to get the blog front end working. No problem, Brandy. Do you want to share your screen real quick and we'll get you caught back up?
Take two.
Okay.
Can't listen, so I'm sitting over here.
Okay.
So click the bottom in the terminal down on the bottom. Go with the second option, create and configure a new site. So press down and hit enter. Yep, Team Brandy. And then Brandy dash blog dash front end. Front end. That's okay.
No.
That's okay. It's okay. You'll just have to remember that front end means back end and back end means back end. For the published directory, this is build. Okay. And then do netlify deploy dash dash prod. And connect that dash with the prod to make that all one. So no space in between the dash and the P.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. And it will print out a link here in a second. Build again, type in build and hit enter. Every time it asks you for a published directory, just say build. That's the name of the folder. All right. Click on that last link, the website you're on. Should be able to command click on it, I think. Does it say Max's blog? Says page not found. What is in your build folder? If you go back behind you and look at the build folder, what's in there? Is there anything in build? Yeah, okay, so down in the terminal, do an npm run build. Perfect. Yep. Every time you change code, you'll rerun. Okay, do an npm install. It looks like that's an issue with the dependencies. Now do the build again, npm run build. And then finally do, can't resolve. Show me your package.json. You scroll down on the left. Package.json, scroll up a little bit. Is there a dependency? Do you have a dependency on Clerk React? Nope. Let me, so replace the contents of this file with replace the contents of that file with what I just posted in CIC C5.
The whole thing.
Whole thing, yeah, overwrite all of it. Cool. Then do the npm install again, save and do the npm install. Oop. You've got npm done
Oh,
there.
cool.
Nice. Okay. npm install. npm run build. Nice. And then netlify deploy -- prod. Here's build. All right, let's try clicking that last link again. Hey, there you go. Running code. Nice.
Yay. It works.
Cool. All right. Let's get the last piece of the puzzle put together. Let us, unless anybody has something else, let's go and wire up the domains. All right. So you probably have a domain purchased for your capstone. Does anybody not have a domain? It looks like most people entered in the domain that they bought. Does anybody not have a domain for their capstone?
I don't, but I'm planning on like having a subdomain of the portfolio that we built.
Okay. A subdomain off of the portfolio. Okay. Do you have another domain that we can use for practice during class? Okay.
No. Can we use
Um,
portfolio and like have a section on it?
so you can, we're going to use Netlify as our DNS provider, which means that Netlify will do all of the subdomain management. So if you decide to go that route and have your capstone be a subdomain of your domain, we will still want Netlify to manage the DNS. So if visitors go to just your domain, not a subdomain, we can make that redirect to GitHub pages if you like.
Sure. I have no idea. I don't think we knew we were supposed to buy one, especially for this.
Yeah, you'll definitely get it's definitely a purchase that you can make with your stipend is a domain for your capstone. Definitely. I encourage everybody to have a domain for their capstone. I encourage everybody, if you want, to also take advantage of buying a domain for your personal use. having both of those, I think, is nice. But for the next set of steps, we just need to have a domain. And we will, what you can actually end up doing if you want to make this easy on yourself for the capstone is you can repurpose the blog front end and the blog back end and re-upload your capstone code to both of those projects. But we can talk about that in a minute. So go to your domain with whatever domain that you're going to use for this. Go to Netlify. Oh, cool. I got the deploy success. Nice. Go to Netlify, and then over on the left side, there's a domains tab. Click add or register domain. And I'm going to drop this one so that I can go through this with you. Okay. Add or register domain. Okay, and then for the domain, pop in whatever the domain name is that you bought. And click verify. It'll ask you, it'll say something about how it's already registered, or it might not. But if it does say that it's already registered, hit add domain anyways. And then it'll ask you if you want to add some DNS records. We don't need to do that just yet. Go ahead and hit continue.
Can I stop you for a minute? Is this for our capstone?
It's for your capstone, yeah.
So we should be putting in that one. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. If all you have is a personal domain, we can also do it for your personal domain as well. If you want to use your personal domain and you're worried about what will happen to your portfolio, you could host your portfolio on Netlify. That's always an option. Yeah, if you just have a portfolio caps domain, use it. Let's use it for this. If you end up buying one for your capstone, you can come back and recreate these steps. I want you to get practice though, setting this up for at least a domain, so you know what to do if you need to do this again for a separate one.
Can we change the domain or do you have to go through this process each time?
For each domain, you'll have to go through this process. It's painful the first time, but it really isn't too bad. There's really just one thing that you have to do in order to link these two things up.
Okay, thank you.
So
Does
Nathan,
go ahead.
the only steps we took was like set up a custom domain, clicked on that.
Yep, I can go through it one more time. So if over on the left, if you go to domains, oops. Here we go. If you go over on the left to domains, you hit add or register a domain. When it asks you what you want to use, type in the name of the domain that you want to use, whatever you bought. This could be your portfolio, this could be your capstone. Just pick one of those domains that you own. Hit verify. It'll say something about how it's already registered, or it might not. It might let you through this. Either way, click add domain. Skip the section about DNS records. We'll come back to that. And then you should be looking at something that's saying update your name servers, and there should be a couple of entries in there.
Thank you.
So we're telling Netlify that we own this domain, but Netlify is like, I don't believe you, prove it. So now what we need to do is go over to Namecheap and upload these domain name servers and have it point to Netlify. At that point, Netlify will know that we own this domain, and we can start using it with Netlify. All right, so let's go and open up Namecheap. Y'all remember this from week 7? You go to Namecheap, find your domain, click manage. This should look familiar. We did this with the GitHub pages before. The only difference is last time we were using Namecheap and adding DNS records to Namecheap. This time we're going to add the DNS records using Netlify. And so we're going to switch the DNS provider from Namecheap to Netlify. To do that, when you're looking at this domain on this domain page, remember how we were back over on the advanced DNS tab? Well, we're not going to do DNS through Namecheap anymore. On the domain tab, switch the name servers. So it's like the 4th thing down. See where it says Namecheap Basic DNS under name servers? Switch that to custom DNS. And then we're going to fill in, for each one of these rows, we're going to fill in a name server. Now, when we've done all that, we'll hit the green checkbox, and that will save our custom, our name servers. It will point our domain to over to Netlify. Yeah, it's raining here in Montana. Taylor, lost as in over on the Netlify side or on the Namecheap side? Both?
So I'm on the 3rd part where it says activate Netlify DNS.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of lost on what to do.
So you see those 4 domain name servers, DNS2, 3, 4, 1, whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Go open your Namecheap domain. So log into Namecheap.
Namecheap, okay.
Mhm.
Dashboard.
Yep, dashboard, find your domain, punch the manage button next to it or click on it or something like that.
I gotta be honest, I have no freaking idea what my assignment stuff is for this.
Oh, for Namecheap?
Yeah. Like I haven't looked at this website in like 5 months.
Yeah, I was gonna say week 7 was probably the last time you looked at it. You don't think you could get in?
I mean, it's gonna take me minutes, so I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
figure
no
this
worries.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, no
Okay,
worries.
I'll work
Take
on
your
that.
time. Shannon.
Mine's actually the same thing. I went to log in, I reset my password, but now I need, says I have a 2-factor authentication app on my device and.
You
I
sure
don't know
do.
what they're
Remember we
talking
set that up?
about. I don't remember.
Oh, Authy, yeah.
Oh.
The phone app. Remember how we accidentally downloaded the Microsoft one instead of the Twilio one?
Hmm.
Good times.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Authy. I don't know where. I just have Authenticator.
Yeah, open up Authenticator. Do you have a code in there?
No, it says add account.
Okay.
That's okay.
What about on your Mac? Do you have Authy installed on your Mac? If you go to, if you open up Spotlight and start typing in Authy, or you look in your applications, do you see Authy in there?
Okay, yeah, I've got it open on my computer.
Do you see a number in there, 6-digit number?
Yes, I do. Okay, perfect. So I would just put that in and then I'm good to go. Or should,
Perfect, nice.
okay, now I just need to know everything we've done so far.
So you're logged into Namecheap, right? Now you're able to get into Namecheap?
It expired because it only gives me 20 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. So now it says I have 4 more tries until I use the code, I put it in. It says no.
Yeah. Before it locks you out?
Yeah, it says I have 4 more tries. Oh, wait, never mind. It has decided to work. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry about that. Thank you.
yeah. So when you have Namecheap open, let me show you what I'm talking about. When you have Namecheap open, go to your domains. So whatever page your domains are, click on manage for that domain, the one that we're using with Netlify. Click on manage and you should see this domain tab. Shannon, do you see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So you're on the domain tab for your domain.
Mhm.
Go down to name servers and switch it from Namecheap basic DNS to custom.
Okay.
And then for each of those slots, throw in the domain, the name servers that you have over on Netlify. That makes sense?
Yes, I just need to find where Netlify. where it is. I have so much open. I'm like, I don't even know what to do.
Brandy, is this the error that you were talking about that you saw? You got a different error?
I have a different error,
Okay,
a special, probably more annoying error.
that's okay. We'll figure it out. Was anybody not able to find the name servers other than Brandy? And gonna pick on Sequoia. Were you able to get your name servers linked up with your domain?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Oh, okay. Brandy, why don't you go ahead and share and let's see if we can figure out
I did.
Okay.
I did.
a DNS is not for this. Marty. Oh, don't use the Netlify domain. Use the one that you bought on Namecheap. Did you buy a domain name? Did you buy a domain name?
Oh, okay.
Remember that?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the .me one. Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't trying to open that. Yeah.
Add domain, yep. Skip the upcoming DNS record nonsense for now. Hit continue. And then these 4 values, we need to go and plug them into Namecheap. So open up Namecheap. Account, yep. Four tries, you get 4 tries, and apparently you get kicked out. No judgment here.
Cool. No. Well,
Yeah, if you just bought a domain,
Oh.
totally. Okay. If you have Authy, try opening an Authy and seeing if you have a one-time password in there for it. First try, very nice. All right. Down in the domain, so yep, hit manage over on the right. Scroll a little bit down, right where it says name servers, flip that over to custom DNS, and then plug those 4 values in that you got from, yep, exactly. And then
okay.
hit the green check mark when you're done. That
The
if you go back to Namecheap for a sec,
okay.
it's that really fun green that is not very obvious.
I
So
see
after
it.
you get the
Okay.
4 of them, punch that. Cool, nice.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Oh shit. Nice. You got flagged for cyber terrorism. So I guess maybe try again. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we should go buy a Google domain. I don't know. Logged in. After you select custom, what do you do? So Tara, over on Netlify, go to domains, add or register a domain, plug it in.
Oh, I did all that part. I got logged into my Namecheap and because I had to update my Authy and reset my password and some other stuff. So I got it logged into the Namecheap and then I saw where you said switch it to custom
Mhm.
DNS, right? And then where it says like name server 1 or 2, I'm supposed to put I
Plug
was
those
follow
values
just
from
when you
Netlify.
were doing it, but I was like a little behind, so I couldn't see the screen.
That's okay. So back over on Netlify, have you already started to add the domain into Netlify?
Yeah. I'm on the add domain to Netlify DNS page.
Do you mind sharing your screen and I can see?
Okay. Sure.
Perfect. It's those 4 right there. That's what you want. The DNS3.p03. Those are
Okay.
the values you want to throw in there. So go ahead and grab the first. Yeah, grab the first one. It looks like it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you, yep, go back over, paste
Put
that.
all 4 in
Yeah,
here.
paste that. Put the other one in. And paste again into name server 2, and just change it. So all that's changing is, yep. Go ahead and click there. Change that one to 4. Add name server.
Do I
Hit that
change
button.
this to 4
Nope,
twice?
leave that to 3.
Oh, okay.
Hit add name server a couple of times so we get 2 more boxes.
Okay.
Paste and then do the same thing, except we need a 1 and a 2 here. And then the green check mark, and I think that's it. Nice. Now Netlify is managing your domain. Very nice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that, Taylor. I don't know what to do at this point. Like that just sucks. So let me know if there's anything I can do to help you unlock that account. Otherwise, we can just get caught up later. Okay. We did all that. We did all this. All right. So back in Netlify, we're going to go to the site that we want to link up with our domain name. So click into, from Netlify, click into sites, find the blog front end or blog backend if you named it blog backend. Find the site that that you push your front end code to, and then under site configuration, let's see, production domains. Here we go. Yeah. So under site configuration, go to, why is it different? Go to domain management. That's what it is. It's a little confusing because you have a menu within a menu here. So it's site configuration over on the left, domain management under the sub menu here. And then you should be looking at domains. All right, and then under the domain, under production domains, click add a domain, and then type out the name of the domain that we just did all this work for. So mine was called cohort5.com. And you should get a message that looks kind of like this. It should say good news. Success message. Was anybody able to successfully verify and add their domain to their site?
I was, but I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Since we're doing this with the front end of the blog, how will we switch this over using the same domain but switching over to our actual capstones?
The answer is we'll just Netlify deploy your capstone front end. So we'll just change the code. We'll just upload the capstone front end code. So right now we're uploading the blog front end code, right? We'll just switch over to deploying the capstone front end code.
Okay, but we have to stop deploying the one that we're doing now?
You won't have to stop. You'll actually just overwrite it.
Okay.
So right now we're uploading blog code. After this is done, you'll upload capstone code.
All right, thank you.
And you'll be able to rename things if you'd like. Or you can create brand new Netlify applications, and same for the backend. You can create brand new Fly applications with the names that you want. But quick and easy, just upload capstone code and reuse this. All right. So after you go to site configuration, domain management, add a domain, and type in your domain and hit verify. Click add domain. And it will say something like awaiting external DNS. How do you get to site configuration? So from the Teams page, so let's just go straight to netlify.com. So we're in the same spot. Let's start from netlify.com. So from the Teams overview, click on Sites. And then whatever site you have right here. And then site configuration. You see it now? Cool. And then from site configuration to domain management. And then if you haven't already, there should be an add a domain button there. I don't have one because I just added one. But when you click add a domain name, it will open up a box. You'll type in the name of the domain that we just got done wiring up on Namecheap. You'll hit verify and keep hitting that button until it closes. Cool. Blash, go ahead.
I bought like the one with extension .co, and
Mhm.
it says it does not, it can be registered through Netlify. .co domains can be registered.
Interesting.
Yeah. If
Wonder
not,
why that is.
was that?
I wonder why that is. That seems kind of arbitrary.
Yeah. Let me post
Netlify
this.
says that you can't. It says that you can't do it. Oh. Select add domain to add it to your site. You can configure. Yeah, click add domain. What happens if you do that? Do you mind sharing your screen?
Yeah. I just clicked it again, and now it's like checking status. Here you go.
Awaiting external DNS. If you go back to FlixMatch, the team, so right now you're in the site flixmatch.co. If you go back to the team page, so click on, yeah, exactly. Click back to the team and then go to domains. Click on that. Yep. You've already done this, right? You've already registered. Yeah, okay. You've already registered the DNS records. This looks like it should work. So flixmatch.co. I'm gonna try that in my browser and see if it works. Oops. It says registered at Namecheap. I think it's because, oh no, it works.
It works? Okay. Mine's still loading. Okay.
You need to go to the HTTP version. I posted it into in Zoom chat. But
Gotcha.
if you go to the HTTP version right now, it loads up the Maxis blog stuff. I think there's some DNS things going on right now, which is why it's kind of being a little wonky.
No problem. Thank you. If it
Mhm.
works.
All right. Sakura?
Yes, so mine's is so when I went back to domains and the production domains is saying awaiting external DNS.
Mhm. Yep. So that will last for a minute or two. If you refresh the page, has it gone away?
Let me see. It says checking status. One still popped up. Yep, they still popped up.
The message is still popping up.
Yep.
So part of it is we need to give it a little bit of time. The other part is just checking on my machine to see. Yeah, it looks like the DNS records for you're using SakotaReeves.com, right?
No, I was using
Oh.
I thought we were using the one from our capstone.
Oh yeah, feel free to. You put in the spreadsheet for that link. It was you put in healing gun touched wounds, but it redirected me to your personal. So let me see.
Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. I see when you click on it, it's saying I'm not sure why it's doing that because this is the one that I put in.
I'm not sure either. That's strange. Let's give it a couple minutes here in the break and we'll see what happens because right now there's two things going on. Right now, Netlify is trying to validate that you pointed the domain at it, and Namecheap is still changing those DNS records. So either one of those two things we need to finish. So it'll take a minute for all this stuff to start clicking.
Okay, thank you.
Totally. Yep. Anybody else?
Nate, I just want to make sure I'm at the right spot. Can I just share my screen?
Totally.
Boop. So that what it's supposed to do after I verify.
Add a domain. Yep.
That's it. We were good. Am I good to go?
I think so.
Okay,
Go.
All right. I'm sorry. I lost my headphones. Like you just said to me.
So go and click. Just to make sure that you have stuff registered. Click back to the parent team page here. Click into that. Yep. And then click. Yep. Exactly. And then take me to domains, and let's just make sure that it's totally registered here. Yep. Okay. Click on into that. So you totally have this set up. Scroll down a little bit. And you went, yeah, and then you went over to Namecheap and you plugged all this in, right?
Yep.
Okay, now back into the site. So let's go navigate to the individual site. Yep. Click into this. And then take me to domain settings. And yep, add a domain right where you were. Okay, we're all caught up. So yes,
Okay.
totally click on that button, add a domain. And then, yep, type that domain in again.
What, my capstone one domain?
Yep, the capstone one. Yep. All right, hit add domain. And now it will, this is what we're waiting on right here is the, that stuff, which will take an indeterminate amount of time, so. But you are all set, nice job.
Thank you so much.
Go for it, Shannon.
So I just wanted to check and make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be at because I was watching and something that you've done with Danny, it's not showing up for me.
Okay. Go for it. Unrelated, Tara, it looks like yours is working now. Nice job.
So it says that it's registered through an external provider, but when I go here, I don't.
Click on domains over on the side and just show me. Yeah, okay, so you've got it registered. Nice. Go
Okay,
back.
so everything.
Go to sites here. Click on that.
Mhm.
And then domain settings. Add domain. Or this thing here. Type in that domain. Yep.
So type in, you said the one for my capstone or,
Yep. Yep. The one that
Okay.
you just added. Okay. Add domain. Yep. And now it sits and thinks.
oh, okay, all right, so, okay, perfect.
That
Thank you.
top one is kind of like, think of the top one as kind of being like a dev URL that you can use when you're testing, but you can, the goal here is to have these two so you can share them with customers and point them at it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Danny, you still got your hand up, but I think you're all good, right? Brandy, go ahead.
Okay, well, because of the last two, now I have questions.
Okay.
All right. So I got this far, but now I don't know whether I need to put in my capstone or my portfolio page.
The answer is whichever one that you plugged into Namecheap. So if you back over
Okay,
on
so
this
that is
tab,
my
whatever
portfolio.
you're wiring up here, yeah.
Okay.
Use that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure there wasn't a like third thing in the mix I wasn't aware of.
So go back to
Okay,
Netlify.
there it is.
Yep, type it in.
So
Add that domain. Perfect. Now we wait.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens
Cool.
in 20 minutes. Taylor, did you get any word on your support case? No. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens when we give it 20 minutes. See everybody back at 7:23.
If mine's is still saying that, is that fine? I refreshed it and everything.
Let's see. Um, Let's take a look.
Anecdotally, mine, one is still waiting and the other one is completed. So it can take,
It might just take a minute. Yeah,
Can I just share my screen just so I can make sure that I'm like
please.
doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
And I also want to take a look at Namecheap real quick, just to make sure that that's all set. So show me the Namecheap domain real quick. Hit that green check mark down by the custom DNS.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't save it.
Yeah, this is a thing that may take up to 48 hours. So like the Namecheap side is going to be slow, but we'll see what that does.
I need to refresh this.
Yeah, and give it a couple, like Namecheap is super slow, so give it a couple. Oh, we at least got, no,
It definitely is. I just changed my other one over to my company's website, the domain. It took forever.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's at least give it like 5 minutes because
Okay.
I think it'll fix itself. That's my guess. Okay, so we have two things that I want to talk about. Two things that I want to talk about before we wrap up with the front end. So recall that when we deployed the front end, one of the first things that we noticed was that the front end was broken. It wasn't loading comments. It wasn't loading posts, rather. And we looked at the network inspector and we saw that it was trying to load from localhost. Well, what we can do now that we've registered our domain is we can create a subdomain off of our domain that points to the backend. Then our front end, we can update it to talk to that subdomain, in effect, talking to the backend. So I want to show you real quick how to make a subdomain off of your Netlify domain and how to get it to point to your Fly backend. Do you have to do this? No, you can technically work around this. The one way that you could get your front end to talk to your back end, remember that Fly gave us a URL. If I pull up all these deploy links, we have these URLs to our backend, these fly.dev URLs, right? That we could point our front end to, that would load comments, it would load posts. But can anyone think of the downside of having our front end talking to this Fly URL?
Please share.
Nobody? What about not, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that you're getting any kind of performance. I don't think that like the directness of it will have an impact. What if I say Coors? Does that mean anything to anybody besides the beer?
After that.
Yeah. What about Coors? Cross origin something something. Yep. That really annoying thing. It would also be an acceptable answer. Resource sharing. Yeah, exactly. So recall that. Well, actually, I don't know what Max had set up for the cross origin. So let's take a look real quick. Let's see what the cross origin resource policy. Let's see what that was for the back end. So I'm just going to open up the blog backend and take a look. So notice here that we have Core's middleware, but we're not defining any restrictions. So this basically says, okay, yeah, you can anything can talk to the back end. It don't matter who you are, we'll honor requests from coming from any website. It's not great. And so what you can do, let's go look up the documentation real quick let's go look up the documentation for cores. Oops. Express cores. Yep. Configuring cores. Let's see. So if we want to restrict the origins that are allowed to talk to our domain, we can say this, and then we can give it our domain name. So in my case, mine is cohort. Nobody needs to be doing this right now. We're just watching as I demonstrate this. But what we can do is we can restrict the server to only talk to our domain. And vice versa, we can make the front end only allowed to talk to our back end. So here is the server side where we restrict all incoming requests to have origin cohort 5. If any other website tries to make JavaScript requests to our backend, they will fail. Okay. But I'm just going to leave that in here for now. I'm not actually going to redeploy the backend inside a course policy because we don't actually need to do that tonight for the blog. Okay. But let's set up a subdomain for reaching the backend. To do that, and you can do this if your domain isn't fully registered yet. So if you're still waiting on that external DNS to finish resolving, you can go ahead and do this. So what we need to do is navigate back to the Teams page of Netlify. So let's open up Netlify again. So not inside of the site, but rather from within the team page. Let's go over to domains. And then click on the domain that you registered. So whatever your capstone or portfolio domain is. All right, and then we'll leave this here. In another tab, open up Fly and log into your Fly app. From Fly, click on your backend, not your database, but your backend, the one that doesn't have the elephant, and not the one that says free builder. So find wherever your blog backend is and click on that. And then go to certificates over on the left. Go ahead, Brandy.
Okay. So I have 3 things that say backend. And I don't know if what I'm seeing in this, I don't know which one to click on because I don't know which one's right. And I don't know if any of them are the front end that I accidentally named backend.
Are you talking about fly?
Yes.
Okay, so do you see some that have an elephant?
Mm-hmm.
Ignore those. Does that help?
Yes.
Are you down to one?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, click on that one.
Okay. All right.
And then over on the left, click on certificates. All right. Once you're on the certificates page, click add certificate, and we're going to create a host name. It's going to start with API dot, and then the name of your domain. And what we're doing is we're saying this app is going to represent the subdomain API. And we're going to hang it off of our domain. So you should have in this box API dot and then the name of your domain. The domain that we're using with Netlify. Origins do refer to domains. When you're talking about the origin of an HTTP request, you're talking about what website is that resource originating from. It's different than the say like the IP address of where a request is coming from, because not all traffic comes from a website. I mean, you and I can do curl commands on our laptop, and those curls aren't coming from a website, right? So not all requests have origin, but any website that uses JavaScript to make uh, web requests will include an origin. All right. So we're requesting a new certificate for the subdomain API dot whatever your domain name is. Hit create. All right. Now we've got two DNS records. If you recall back to week 7, I talked a little bit about DNS. There's all sorts of different types of DNS records. There's TXT, SRV, CNAME, A, quadruple A, all sorts of DNS records. But what we need to do is we need to create two DNS records. So the values that you see on this page over on Netlify. So keep this open and then go back to that Netlify window. And where it says DNS settings, we're going to add some new records. So you should have over on the Netlify side, you should have your domain pulled up. Click add new record. And with your Netlify and your Fly side windows open, let's go ahead and create those records. So for the A record over on the Netlify side, the name will be API and the value will be that IP address. You can leave the TTL value alone. So we'll make the A record. Your values will look different.
So are we taking the at off? Or we put
We're taking the at off and we're putting in the word API. So make two records. Oops. There we go. Two records to match those two. Straightforward enough? Is everybody able to get that?
what do I put in for the name?
For the name, put in API.
Oh, okay.
And if you got it wrong, like I did, you can go into these DNS, delete them, and recreate them if you need to. After you've done that, what you should be able to do is in a browser, navigate to that address. And the backend should come up. Let me make sure that my there we go. So it looks like after you've created those records, come back to Fly and hit check again down in the bottom. It looks like Fly needs to validate that those records have been created. So you've made them over on Netlify, pop open the Fly window and scroll down below, hit check again, and you should see issued up here at the top. Back on the Fly page. Brady, you're shaking your head. Danny, Shannon, Palash. Okay. Dakota, are you able to?
Mine is saying add DNS entries.
Do you want to share and show me what step you're at?
Mhm.
Okay, you've got this side. All right. Open up the Netlify window. All right, you're on domains. Scroll down, or no, you have your, yeah, perfect. You have those added up above. You have those DNS records. Those look great. Go back to Fly, and then scroll down to the bottom. Click that check again. Refresh this page, and let's see. Try hitting that one more time. Check again. So api.healing, healinguntouchedwounds.org. Go back to Netlify. Let's just make sure that those records were added. 124.58. That all looks good. 124.58. My guess is that it's just lag in between the two, and I'm guessing that it's just going to take it a minute to for it to resolve. So go back. Let's hit check again and see. At this point, they look right. I think it's just going to be a matter of.
Is it still because remember I added the DNS stuff?
To Namecheap. Yeah, let's see if that has finished. Yeah, I think we're still waiting on the original Namecheap name servers to finish pointing over.
So where was that site?
I think you've done everything correct. We're just waiting now. We're waiting on Namecheap.
Alrighty.
Yeah, sorry about that. Namecheap is just being slow. Go ahead, Danny.
I'm having the same issues with Dakota, so I don't know if that's, I'll share my screen, but I don't know.
Yeah. So yours is. So yours, it looks like, is correctly pointing to. Looks like yours is correctly pointing to Netlify. So show me the Netlify side. Yeah, the Netlify side. Yep. So you have 2A records. This looks great. hold on to that for a second. Yeah, this looks good. Go back to the fly side.
Everything's hiding under it. One.
Fly. And scroll down and try that check again. Okay. I think we're probably just waiting here as well because
Yeah, that's what I figured, but
when I check it on my end, it takes me to that address. So the records are there. It just looks like in between Fly and Netlify, they're waiting on the DNS here.
okie dokie, as long as you can see something, that makes me feel
Yep.
good. All right, thank you.
And I'll just set a reminder here. We'll check on both of y'all's API for the end of class. All right. Well, while we're waiting on DNS to finish resolving for a couple of people, let's move on. Let me share my screen.
Can I ask a quick question, Nathan?
Yes, please.
Where in that process is API being set as a subdomain of your domain name? Like, is that happening on the Netlify side?
Yeah, it's happening in two places. If you think about the way that the address is getting resolved, it starts at Namecheap because Namecheap owns the domain. Then it looks at the name servers, which point to Netlify. We end up at Netlify, which has A records for the API subdomain. So that's kind of the first place where we get clued in that a subdomain exists.
Is an A record, is that always a subdomain?
No, well, yeah, it can be. You can also point it to other IP addresses. It doesn't necessarily have to point to just a subdomain. But the A record does represent that you have a subdomain at Netlify. And then the subdomain points, the A record points to an IP address, or that subdomain points to an IP address over at Fly. And Fly also knows that that it should respond to that subdomain request. So the subdomain kind of lives in both places. It lives in Netlify and Fly.
Okay, so is it, and it's because you're operating within your domain, like that's where you went in Netlify. So when you create a new record and just give it a name, that becomes a subdomain. It becomes that name dot your domain name.
Yeah, you can create more subdomains in Netlify if you want. You can create as many, yeah, by making more A records. I think you can also use CNAME to make subdomain records. I might be wrong. Yeah, I think you can create a CNAME record as well. In fact, that's one of the instructions here on Fly. If we share my screen. Yeah, so here in the setup instructions, you can prove that you have ownership of the subdomain by either registering A records or by creating a CNAME record, which also points to that. But Sequota and Danny, try hitting that check again off and on until you get a couple of valid certificates, and let me know if it passes. Okay, so what you should have is API dot whatever your domain is. So if you go and navigate to that in the browser, you should see status online. You should be getting a response from your background, or sorry, from your backend. So what we could do now that this is a valid URL that points to our a valid URL that points to our backend, we could go and update our code. And if you don't have a valid backend yet because you were waiting on the certificate, so Danny and Sakura, go ahead and make the code change with me here. So open up the front end because we need to change some code in the front end to make it talk to the back end, right? Go to the front end and open up VS Code. And let's do a search for anywhere your app is suspended, the Netlify app.
No, Nullify finally said, notify DNS that got checked by it. But when I'm on, the back end one that you told me to check again, it's saying like, it's not letting me check it. And then in the right-hand side, it says suspended when I hover over it.
Oh, that's because the machines are sleeping. It doesn't mean that your account is suspended.
But it's not letting me. If you want me to share, I could.
Yeah, go for it. Let's see it. Oh yeah, Tara, I think that is just a happenstance. I don't think the two are correlated here. You can make it go to deployed by just hitting the domain anyway. Okay, this is good. So the Netlify side finally looks like it resolved, which is great. Yeah, go ahead and hit that check again. Try refreshing. And then I'll also check with Dig. Yeah, mine is showing it's 66241. Yeah, try that. I honestly think that it's close because the Netlify one just resolved. So we just need time between Netlify and the other thing you could do is if you go to Netlify again, just check to make sure those A records are set. So back on the site, main site. So click up here. Yep. Go back to domains. I know we just saw this, but just to triple check, click into that again. Yeah, you have these DNS records here. So these are set. Yeah, I think we're still in a waiting pattern for a little bit more Sequota. Sorry about that.
Okay, it's fine.
Any luck on your end, Danny? Still no? Okay. All right. Well, either way, we can update the code, and once the DNS stuff resolves, things should just work. So back in the front end code, we're looking for all the places where we call out to localhost 3001, and it looks like the place where we would need to change the code is in this API URL.js. So if you look in SRC in your front end, there should be an API URL.js. We're going to change this from localhost 3011 to API dot and then whatever your domain is. What do we need to do in order to push up this code? Or front end code? Does anybody remember the steps? Every time we make a front end code change, commit and push. Eventually, we'll be able to do that because I'm going to show you how to automate all of the deploys with GitHub Actions. But what did we need to do when we first pushed our code up to Netlify? Anybody remember the command? Deploy. Yeah, we need to deploy. If we deploy right now, it's going to take whatever is in build and push it up. But there's one step before we do the deploy. We need to make sure that we run npm run build. So let's grab a terminal. And the two commands we need to do is npm run build. So that will take all of our code and bundle it up into that build folder. And then and then netlify deploy -- prod. The two steps, it's npm run build. And then netlify deploy prod. And when I ask you what the publish directory is, it should be build.
Build.
Hey, I have a thing. I have a thing because remember yesterday I went and injected a row into the table for the posts. This is that thing. Now you probably aren't going to see anything on yours. What you'll want to do is open up the network inspector, check the network tab, and just check to see if you're making a successful 200 call to the post endpoint. That will tell you if you've deployed the code and you're talking to the post backend. Alternatively, we can open up Beekeeper and go throw a row into the database for you to be able to see something here, but we don't really need to do that for the purposes of this. In fact, we are done with the blog. This is as far as we're going to go with the blog. Now we can start talking about the capstone and deploying the capstone and actually getting our capstones live and working. So we're completely done with the blog at this point. I've shown you everything that I can about the blog. Any questions?
So when I go to my site, it just says page not found.
All right, let me pull open.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, absolutely. Let me stop share. Yeah, so let's just make sure that. So does your direct link work? So take me to, let's see. I think that the site is just borked. Yeah, so what is going on here? Do an npm run do an npm run build. Yeah. Okay, and then same thing, netlify deploy. When it asks you, just say build. That's the name of the folder. And then click on that website draft URL. Let's see how this looks. That looks good. Okay, go back to the terminal and do netlify deploy -- prod. So say anything, but tack on that dash dash prod flag. So this will put it up on your main website, on your main domain. Directory is always build. All right, check it out.
Okay, so is it ever gonna go back to my portfolio?
Yeah, we can make it go back to your portfolio.
Okay,
Just deploy from the terminal. Do a netlify deploy of your portfolio. So go to wherever your portfolio is and run netlify deploy there, and it will push your portfolio out to that website.
okay, when I find it, I will do that.
Okay. Well, and in fact, what I would recommend is don't push up your portfolio, push up your capstone. And we're going to reuse all the stuff that we've created to push up our capstone. We're done with the blog. We've exhausted all we need with blog testing. Now we can use all the same stuff that we've set up to deploy our capstone. Most of the same stuff that we've set up to deploy our capstone. And we'll do that by just doing netlify deploy and fly deploy on our capstones. Any other questions?
When we went in the I'm sorry, Flash, go ahead. When we went in the terminal and we did the netlify deploy prod or whatever, and then we opened up the website again, we were supposed to be able to see the posts, right?
Well, recall that the back end was empty. There were no posts. We had a fresh database for the back end, right?
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I missed something because I'm like, it's still doing the same thing as before.
Right. The thing that you need to look for is you need to open up the network inspector. So open up the developer tools, open up network inspector, reload the page, and see is it making a successful request to your backend. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you'd like, I could if you want to share your screen, I can walk you through it.
Okay.
If your capstone is a mono repo, it isn't a insurmountable challenge. I actually haven't done a mono repo with Fly or Netlify. I love to learn how if you want to blaze that path. Everything we've done in classes by breaking up the front end and the back end. So it's up to you. Yeah, so you've got the network tab open. Great. Expand this up a little bit so we can see the network calls there. Okay, now a little bit more so we can see all that. Cool. And then just hit X on the console because we're not really too interested in it. All right, refresh. Okay, see the failed network request here? You click on that. Notice how it's still, and then click on headers. Notice how it's still making a request to 3011. What we wanted to make a request to is your api.terrarouser.com. So click on API URL back here in the code. Did you update that? So change this from HTTP to HTTPS.
I'll take this. Okay, I think I missed that step.
HTTPS://API, because this is your backend we're talking about, api.terrabrowser.com. Save, npm run build. All right, and then Netlify deploy again.
Oh, did I spell it wrong? Oh, sorry. Oh,
Wait, what? It didn't ask you for the build folder? Huh. All right, well, try refreshing behind you. Let's refresh that and see if the request works. Oh yeah, yeah, I think something happened there with the Netlify deploy. Try doing that Netlify deploy one more time. And you can press up and that will give you the last command.
okay.
On the keyboard. Nice. There you go. Yeah, type in build. All right. Now let's try refreshing. Perfect. See how you're getting that 200 now? You fixed that. It's making a request to your back end. So your
Yeah.
front end is now talking to your deployed front end is talking to your deployed back end. You have a fully deployed blog. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right. So go ahead, Plush.
I was having the similar problem as Tara, but mine is giving me an error code 502, and it says, yeah, it's just red and it's giving me 502.
So how is your back end doing? Is it?
It was, it's running.
That's right. Yeah, yesterday we were battling it. I think I would not invest any more energy here. You need a working back end, obviously, in order for the front end to make a successful request. So let's focus on the capstone and we'll fix any issues that pop up there.
No problem.
All right. So let's go ahead and call it. What I want to do is we're gonna let me share my screen real quick. We're going to give DNS time to resolve on a couple of people's apps because that's kind of all that we really can do. And what we're going to work on next, so we've got the API URL set. There's a couple small minor things that I'll work with people individually on for their capstone. Specifically, if you have a URL path in, let me show real quick what this looks like. So let's say, Shannon, for your website, if we went to like the About Me page, notice how the link is broken. I know that Shannon, I know you don't have an About Me, but if you have any kind of subpage that is hanging off of your URL, if you navigate to it directly, Netlify breaks those links. So I'll work with people individually or on Monday to get this set up, but there's a small fix that we need to push for your capstone. We're not going to do it with a blog because we're starting now. We're going to start throwing away the blog and focusing exclusively on the capstone. There's some automation stuff that I want to talk about, but only if time permits next week. And on Monday, I think I'll be with you on Monday. And what we'll do is we'll go through person by person and we'll get everyone's capstone fully deployed. It will go pretty quick because we're going to reuse all the stuff we've set up with the blog for the capstone. If you have little things like mono repos or special configurations, that will take a little bit more time and we might have to set that up outside of class. But my goal is on Monday for us to have our capstones completely deployed. So if you didn't get all the way through with the blog. My hope for this week was that you picked up a lot of the bits and pieces and the ergonomics of using the Fly and Netlify CLIs in the terminal, and also figuring out the websites because they're both uh, kind of nightmares in my opinion. Does that sound good? Getting capstones deployed on Monday? Okay.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
So, once we get our capstone deployed, any changes that we make, we just go back in the terminals and, on both the back and the front end and do the deploy again to push it up to the site?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep, every change that you make will have to go through and run those commands. Yep. And I'll make a cheat sheet for you, just to make sure that you they're in the slides, but I'll make a condensed cheat sheet for you so you remember those commands.
Okay, and if we buy a separate domain name for our capstones and what we use for the blog project, we would just go through Netlify and Fly and update that information.
Exactly, yep. I would create, obviously in Netlify, you're gonna need to create a new domain. And then you'll need to point that to a Fly backend. I would probably also create a new Fly backend for that. If you're going to create a new domain, I think you should probably create a new Fly backend. And I'm happy to help with that on Monday. If you go and purchase the domain and go get it set it up in Netlify, or get as far as you can, I'll be happy to help with any questions or helping you through that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right, I'm going to pause. Stop recording.